Lovely.
Awesome. Here we go. Welcome back, guys. So yes, now we are with Ritu Sharma. She is a women empowerment ambassador, an entrepreneur, and an author. And that's just to list one or two of the things that she does, because she does so many amazing things. I've known Ritu a number of years now, and I've been so fortunate and blessed to be in her company and being part of a wonderful tribe of amazing women, but also the multi events that she does for men and women. It's not just the women stuff, but women's empowerment is close to her heart, so she supports women a lot more. But face it, sometimes we need that. So yeah, she's an author. She does event planning in event organizations. She's done loads of work with different charities and different businesses, giving women loads of different opportunities, myself included. And we're all going to be part of this new book coming up. So I am not going to spoil any of that. I'm going to let Ritu share all of that. So over to yourself. Wonderful.
Thank you so much, Suman. You're so kind, and I always feel so much loved when I'm around you. Thank you so much for the introduction. Hello, everybody. It's been wonderful. I've been listening to many speakers, and it's gone so great so far. And I believe, there's so many wonderful stories to be heard, to be shared, and platforms like this just do that for us. So thank you so much for bringing us all together, Suman, creating this wonderful opportunity. And thank you to Tristan in the background as well, dealing with all the technical stuff as well. So I'm Ritu Sharma. I'm Women Empowerment Ambassador, and that is one thing that is closest to my heart, empowering women and uplifting them. And in the endeavor to do that, we run an organization called Kaushalya UK, which does just that, provides opportunities, create platforms, bring women together, open new doors for them, etc., etc. I'm also an entrepreneur. I run businesses. I'm a women's coach and help them find their leadership qualities, their empowered selves, understand their journeys, and become 100% potentially themselves. So that's a little bit about me. But here today, I'm going to talk about success from my book. And if you break it down, the topic has two keywords, success and book. Before we get on to that, I want to share one thing that, and I'm sure many of you would agree with me, that all of us are walking, talking stories. Each one of us has got something that is deeply close to our heart, some lived experience that has made us who we are today, or is in the process of creating who we are meant to be in future. And sharing these stories becomes so important at times, and for certain reasons. One, to become a whole yourself, to accept and acknowledge your journey and appreciate and honor it. And two, because what you've gone through, somebody else possibly in the world is going through that. They need to hear the message of achievement, empowerment, and overcoming what you've already created and done for yourself. But they are somewhere where they need to hear that message and find strength, not just from within, but also from your story. Therefore, books are so important. And I'm sure I was listening and I've heard so many people talk about so many wonderful books. Some of them popped up time and again. Power of Now, for example, which is very close to my heart as well. So coming back to the topic, success from my book. Success. What does success mean to you? Success does not simply mean being financially abundant. Of course, a part of the success would be being financially abundant, but that is not just the wholesome concept of success. For me, success means having peace of mind. And I think that's a bit cheeky definition, because you'd be at peace of mind if your financial, spiritual, emotional, all aspects are well covered and you're doing really well in all aspects. And that's how you know that you're in a good position now and you can have that peace of mind, you can claim it. So to me, success means peace of mind. It means having health and happiness. It means having the loved ones around you also being happy with you, not just yourself. Having fulfillment in relationship, and I mentioned money already. And I'm a mom of two wonderful daughters. So having them around and seeing that they're growing beautifully, organically, without cultural and societal pressures, which I had quite a few on myself as a young girl, they are not there for them. That is success for me. How am I going to relate that to my book? In October 2016, I was a heap of mess. I was totally distraught. I did not know what to do with myself. I was totally shattered and broken. And I was at a stage where I sat on the settee and I did not get up for 3 consecutive days. I just sat on the settee, lied down, cried, lied down again, sat down again, cried, and continued for 3 days in total, not getting up at all, not speaking to anyone, and sitting in the dark. Of course, that had an impact on my mental health and my children as well at the same time because they were watching me. However, uh, towards the end of those 3 days, some divine intervention happened, and there was a message that popped not in my mind, I'd say, but from the outside, from somewhere else, not from within, that asked me a question. Ritu, are you going to be like this for the rest of your life? Me being me, I'm not a quitter. The answer was clear and strong, and it was a no. No, I'm not going to give in. I'm not going to refuse to give myself another chance and go for it. So I got up, I picked my pieces, and I reconstructed myself. So one of the first few things I did was that I decided that I wanted to write my story. Now, my story was that of emotional pain. My story was of a journey of disempowerment. My story was a story of a woman, of a girl who had been discriminated against because of gender. Because she was a girl, she was not valued, she was not appreciated, although she was talented and gifted. They were seen as a curse because it was not acceptable cultural for girls to be that vocal. And I was one of those annoying children who ask a lot of questions. So I used to ask a lot of questions because my adults did not have an answer. We kind of fell out massively, and that pain was carried on by me for the first 37 years of my life, where I was totally not loved, did not feel the love within, did not have the love on the outside. And as Neha was saying very rightly, what happens is that we have to learn to understand ourselves first and love ourselves first before we can turn it around. And in 2016, I took the first steps just towards that, just loving myself first. So the first thing was to acknowledge my story and accept it for exactly what it was. Okay, many people would not see it. Truth is very subjective, guys, and I'm sure you'd agree with that, that my truth is just 100% my truth. Somebody else would have a different perspective to that, and that is absolutely fine as well. However, I had a story to tell, I had something to share, and I decided that there were other women who needed to hear this story, not because it was exclusive story. Unfortunately, my story is not an exclusive story. My story is a story of many women. The only exclusivity in my story is that I did not have just one incident or one relation with a parent, a sibling, a friend, or something else, or an ex-partner, but it was a series of things. Other people get experiences, and thanks to God, most of the time they're one-off experiences. But mine was like a dominoes effect. Mine was like a storm of series of things happening which were not very pleasant. And yes, I'm 100% thankful to God for that, because each knockback built me better. And once I accepted it, acknowledged it, I understood that the third thing I needed to do was put that learning into action. So I wrote my story down and I called it Rich Man's Poor Daughter. So that was my 100% acceptance of my being, because that's how I had felt for the first 37 years of my life. I was a daughter who was born to a rich man, but I felt totally poor inside and no love without. So I wrote my story down. Of course, I wrote it from a very emotional perspective, very emotional space. But the story went out and it created some really huge ripples. And since then, since 2016 October, when I took my first few steps, got myself coached, got into personal development, wrote my story down, got my story out and published. The book was out in October 2017. And I think that was a huge, huge thing for me, because just after that, thanks to God, I have not looked back. I'm a businesswoman now. I'm a coach, qualified coach myself now. I'm an entrepreneur. I have 2 businesses running. I have an online jewelry business, and I also have a coaching business, and I work with women, as I said. How did getting the story help me? Simply because I had accepted my story And believe me, ladies and gentlemen, it was not planned. But the story getting out brought me such healing. And it was such powerful healing. And I have no clue where it came from and how that happened. I don't know what the process behind it is. But when you start to share your story, it brings you healing. So anyone who has got a story to share, whenever they speak to me and they say to me, I think I want to write my stories, I'm on their case after that. And you should write your story. You know what? This is an amazing, and all stories are amazing. All stories are worth attention. All stories must be listened to and heard. And all stories have a learning hidden in them. So my personal story, when it was in a book, it brought me healing and immense amounts of healing. I can read my book now without getting emotional, without feeling hurt from the incidents that happened. And sometimes I fail to recognize myself to that young lady in the book. And that is a wonderful feeling because I am a totally new person. I am a new woman now. And being inspired from my own personal experience, I went on to, as I said, start in my organization, Kaushalya UK, and letting women take the lead there. I decided I want to do it for them. I want to give them the forefront. I want to give them the spotlight. And in my venture to do that, we're also working on an international book now, which I'm very pleased and proud about because we have released the book cover today for our book, and it's called The New Woman. It's called The New Woman, Stories of Kintsugi Experiences. And that's exactly what they are, stories of transformation, stories of coming through adversities and challenges and transforming and becoming butterflies. And now going out there, spreading our wings, not just healing ourselves, but healing others on our journeys as well. So that is what books do to you. That is what writing down your story, sharing your story does to you, because then you have made total peace with it. This is what my story did to me. So I would say to you, if you have a story, get that pen out, get that paper out. Hey, these days it's laptops and whatnot, but get on with your writing. Your story is powerful, it's beautiful, it's what's created you. And if you've ever had a thought that this could benefit somebody out there, I promise you, it definitely is destined to benefit somebody out there. So if you've got a story within you that's knocking the door, please do open the door, get on with it, and we will be providing more opportunities to more women as we progress with the work that we're doing right now. This is the first volume that's coming out, and then in a couple of years we'll be working on the second one and thereon. One other thing that I do is also we in the process actually of creating an online platform, giving people more exposure if they're speakers, if they're authors, if they are coaches, and sending them on a platform which will give them exposure everywhere globally. So if you're interested in that, we have a table in the arena. Please come and say hello, and if you want information, feel free to get in touch. We'd be happy to support. And also from what Sam was saying on the session just before me, that men's mental health needs to be addressed as well. Men need to come in as well. And as Suman very beautifully said that, yes, women need their time with women and men need their time with men, but men and women need to get together to be able to listen to each other and to be able to try and understand each other's perspective. Having taken that feedback on board and understanding how important that is, very soon we're also starting an ongoing project where men are invited to speak on our platform, which is totally women's platform, and share their understanding of women issues as well as men's issues. So that's that from me, I suppose. Thank you so much for today. Thank you so much for being here, for listening to me. I really appreciate your presence. Thank you so much.
Amazing, as always, Ritu. And even guys, those of you who don't actually know this, some of you guys will. Ritu's actually had a number of other events on today, and she had a women empowerment event on actually running today between 12 and 2. And I was like so gutted that I couldn't be there, because every time I attend any of Ritu's events, honestly, you take so much away. All the wonderful women share their different stories, and honestly, it's such an amazing platform you've created. And Ritu, I can just see it going like definitely in the right direction with everything that you're doing, and all the lovely energies and everybody what they bring to the table is so phenomenal. The anthology alone, The New Woman, coming out, I'm so excited to be part of this journey. Quite a few of the speakers here today are actually part of this book as well. Let me just quickly go through a list and list them. Suzanne Vertanen, she's actually writing in this story as well. We've got Raj Rana, we've got Gemma Rosenthal, and of course you've got myself. And I believe Jenny Harris as well, am I right? Have I missed anybody out?
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Awesome. So see, what a fantastic platform for all of us. And that's just one of the things. I've even had a recent opportunity with Ritu to work on a public speaking training that I did for women. We did workshops throughout February. That was so well received and people took so much learning away from that. We had key speakers on there. Like every event is just always so amazing. And then you have your social events where we do some Bhangra dancing and we do some Bollywood dancing, and it's just always so much fun.
That's
again.
Right. Can't wait to get back on that, Suman. And God willing, if it all goes well and we are still outside lockdown,
Absolutely.
It happens on 3rd of July, our first one. So stay tuned.
There you go. So guys, there's a booth, and again, thank you so much, Ritu, for being one of the sponsors of the event today. And go to the booth, do interact with Sam and Ritu about the different things they do. Look at the different offers that they've got on and the different free resources that they're offering. And of course, Ritu, after this session, I'm asking everybody as well, if there's any links or events coming up or offers that you want to share, let me know, and I'll make sure all the registrants get the copy of that so they can know exactly where to find you and all of that. So thank you so much. I don't know if there's any other questions. If anybody wants to raise their hand, I'll give people a minute or so. And if not, we will then pop over. I'll give people a chance to go in the booth actually to speak to you. You've got a few minutes there between the next session. And we are actually going to be kicking off actually it's just in a minute now, isn't it? So we've got Mandeep now with her talk. So yeah, feel free to reconnect with Ritu in her booth. And I am going to jump to the next session now with Mandeep, and we are going to go on her talking about personal freedom. So thank you so much once again, Ritu.
Thank you.